question I want to ask you about is Chris Hansen. You're very vocal and strong in terms of your wanting that to come down. Can you talk about the significance of why you are so strongly opposed to that ad?
Just listen, he can leave the ad up if he wants to, but I do think the ad is racist. What it does is it depicts black and brown folks as criminals, and the only ones that are committing crimes in Denver. And I think that's a huge problem. We know it's a huge problem. And he didn't even see it. But not only did he not see it, when he was told by people of color, confronted by people of color, that it was racist. We talked about it on your show today. When he was asked to take it down, he still has not done it. And so it's clear to me who he's talking to. So, and I hope that the Denver voters will see that they need, and the mayor should be someone who's more united and not divided.
Final question. Message to
Okay.
I've said that to every candidate that I've talked to.
Welcome to Monday night at the Denver City and County Building for our mayoral debate. We've got 17 candidates here, right? Addressing homelessness. Good.
You know Fred? This is my friend Fred.
Nice to meet you. I think we've met. Yeah, probably. Right here. That's funny. So, good. I was worried I was gonna be late. Glad they haven't started yet. Yeah, look, into Faya for Denver Mayor. So glad to see you tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, Miji, how are you?
What do you need on it? Drive back for a second. Just tell him that I need to know if you guys see it.
We should repeat that conversation.
Good evening.
Nice day.
Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stab you.
All of a sudden the seat doesn't look so good. You're going to be sitting here.
I am.
She's sitting here. You can move down one there.
It looks like these are taken as a tape are. Yeah, I need to stream this tonight. So.
Do you want to move back a couple of rows?
Well, I wouldn't mind this seat.
That seat?
Yeah, then you guys can sit together. There we go.
Can you elaborate?
Okay. I think this might work for me.
We'll talk about your own experience. No.
So are you familiar?
Denver.
I just.
A friend of mine
They have to be back there? That's fine.
No, but if you just a little bit more over.
I think that'll work. Okay, because I'm gonna.
All right.
Yeah.
So which one is she?
She's like very in there. Next to her is Trinidad. His mother was she's on the desk. You might go down that street instead. He's in the
You are so. You should be running.
It's just, with people who are interested.
Yeah. So do you know this guy?
Only because he was
Whether you're talking about so we thought
Well, that would give him a chance of making a
party. It looks like this one might be celebration. Is that one this right here? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Syndicon! It's Brother Jeff.
What's his name? John Walsh. Yeah, he's been but not bad. Well, you would think a candidate would be I saw him come in. Oh yeah, there he is. You're like this. DCLU?
Yeah.
All right. Who are you working on? I've been doing it. Well, it looks like she took when I was organizing the people. So, for the candidates and the surrogates? So I guess a lot of people are wearing this.
All right, we're ready to get started. Can everybody take their seats? Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Joyce.
Yeah, pretty good meal.
There you go.
Not that I grabbed one. I just looked long and
Yes.
Glad to be here. I assume that they're taken. I don't know who's taking them. I wanted. Do you think?
I'll let them have it. I'll be right behind you.
All right. I just want to make sure to catch this stream. It's too big.
Which one is that? Oh, this guy. Oh, no. I want the full deal. Take a quick look at this. You can hold it.
All right, we're ready to get started.
Oh, she's here.
So much hugging going on up here. Gentlemen, could you please take a seat?
At the end so if you had to vote,
Ian Thomas Defiance.
All right, welcome community and welcome candidates. My name is Jess Wiederholt and I am a member of Mutual Aid Monday. I'm also an advocate for the Unhoused here in Denver. This space here today where we're gathering is sacred. Every Monday night for 2.5 years, we've gathered here together. We break bread, we share resources, and we support one another. We are uniting neighbors and creating community. Often, we celebrate the success of a friend obtaining housing or getting into an SOS site. But we also cry a lot of tears here. When the city throws away someone's belongings, or when we lose a friend to hypothermia, overdose, or many of the health challenges from being unhoused. We also share a lot of anger for unjust systems and days that often feel like one defeat after another. We wish we didn't have to gather here. We are called Mutual Aid Monday for a reason. Monday is the night when City Council meets here. We know that those who work inside of this building have the power to change things. But guess what? So do we. We invited you here today, candidates, because we want to make sure the next mayor of Denver is listening to the voices that matter most in our community, our unhoused. And now it is my privilege to introduce the moderator for today's Unhoused-led Denver Mayoral Forum. Max attended Western Oregon University for his undergrad, majoring in psychology. Max is now a second-year graduate student at the University of Denver, Graduate School of Social Work. They are our hope for the future when it comes to competent, well-trained social workers providing for the needs of our community. We are lucky to have Max as an intern this year with Mutual Aid Monday. They are an activist for the rights of the marginalized communities. Please welcome Max to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Unhoused-led Mayoral Forum here in Denver. I really appreciate everyone coming out here. It's a wonderful turnout for those in person and for those joining on the live stream. I do want to acknowledge that this event has been put on by community organizers who are part of Mutual Aid Monday and House Keys Action Network Denver, or HAND. Again, shout out to them. We wanted to first begin with a land acknowledgement. Mutual Aid Monday and HAND acknowledge that it resides on the traditional land of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples. We want to also acknowledge the 48 contemporary traditional tribes and nations who have historically called Colorado home. We want to pay our respects to the elders of the past, present, and future, and to all of those who have worked towards the land and the water for generations.
Amen.
May this acknowledgement express Mutual Aid Monday and HAND's commitment to deepen and grow our relationships with the vibrant Indigenous communities who continue to nourish the sacred land that they have relation to this land. Apologies. This event is an opportunity for unhoused neighbors to ask the Denver mayoral candidates questions about how each candidate plans to address the concerns of the unhoused community. The questions that we have compiled for tonight come directly from the unhoused community. These are unhoused people's concerns, and we need to emphasize that. Housed people who are here in person and online, we encourage you to stand in solidarity with your neighbors this evening and in continuation past tonight. We have separated this event into two separate question segments. The first segment will be a series of yes or no questions. These questions were asked by the unhoused community during surveys conducted by HAND. And then the second segment will include a portion that will be led by unhoused neighbors, in which they will be asking the candidates their questions. During this time, 3 candidates will respond to each of the questions asked, and each candidate will have 1 minute to respond. And I will repeat after all of that once we start segment 2. We do want to now begin with introductions of the candidates. Candidates, you have 30 seconds to introduce yourself, and I'd like to start with Lisa Calderon.
Esther. All right. Hello, everybody. It's so wonderful to see you, my people. We have marched together. We have resisted together. And I am Lisa Calderon, and I'm running for Denver mayor. And I am running to stop the inhumane, ineffective, expensive sweeps. We will be replacing them with, of course, housing and with services. But most of all, what you all are asking for, what you have been demanding and you have not been heard. You're going to hear from candidates who are going to think that they know what's best for you. But they are going to hear from you loudly and clearly. So thank you, LisaForDenver.com. Thanks for organizing this.
Yeah, we'll just move right down the line, starting with Lisa and then into Trinidad. Yeah, thank you.
I'm Trinidad Rodriguez. I was born and raised in West Denver by a hardworking single mom. We've experienced speed bumps along the way, but this city helped me and my mom through the tough times like so many other Denverites. And so I wanted to pay it forward. So that's why when I started my career in finance and in public policy 25 years ago, I served the entire time, including on our city's most efficient and important civic and nonprofit organizations tackling homelessness and affordable housing, etc. And my vision is to build a city where every Denverite, regardless of the neighborhood they're in, can go on to achieve their version of success.
Every human.
Yes. Awesome.
Good evening. So I'm going to end encampments, and that's tied to getting you shelter. Because of that, I'm probably referred to as a big bad wolf, right? That's not the case. I've worked in affordable housing. I understand budgets. We have about $10 billion of budgets here of assets that we can reutilize to get you sheltered, and I promise to do that.
All right.
Good evening, Denver neighbors. My name is Terrence Roberts. I'm the first candidate. Hopefully I'm not the only candidate saying that housing is a human right. We need more public housing. We need to scrap this conversation about affordable housing. Affordable for who? Nobody is moving from a tent on Colfax and Broadway into so-called affordable housing. Affordable housing is owned by the developers. Public housing is owned by you if you're a taxpayer. You cannot get mental health support. You cannot get abuse support, alcohol abuse support if you don't have somewhere to lay your head. Housing is a human right. I don't care about affordable housing. We need public/social housing now. TerrenceRobertsForMayor.com. Thank you.
They are
Not affordable, it's attainable. Attainable.
Attainable, accessible housing. I'm the one that came up with that.
I'm Renata Behrens. I was homeless for a very long time. I came to Denver for love, but it was human trafficking. And when I finally got divorced, I was homeless. So I know what it feels, how it is if you cannot let your hair down or your pants down. It's terrible, it's terrible. And later on I worked in the homeless kitchen that was feeding me during my homelessness, and I really loved the place, but the churches turned it down. Thank you very much. I am much in favor of human rights, of course.
Good evening. I'm State Senator Chris Hansen, and I'm running to be your next mayor. I'm so pleased to join you tonight to hear directly from the community. I really appreciate you having me, and I'm excited to share some of the details of the work that we did last year to, for the first time, get serious investment from the state to help address the homelessness crisis in Denver. It's the first time it's happened, and I was proud to help lead that effort, and I'm so grateful to be part of this conversation tonight. Thank you.
No more homeless shelters.
Hold on, Mike. I'm going to make an announcement really quick. I do just want to ask that everybody respects everybody's time and that we do keep comments to a minimum, just out of respect for everybody's time this evening. Thank you very much.
Hello, y'all. Great to be here. My name is Mike Johnston. I started my career as a teacher and a principal and spent some time as a principal for young people who were unhoused, including in the neighborhood south of here. And so I've spent a large part of my career working on this issue. My belief is that no one in this city needs to be unhoused. We have a moral obligation as a city to make sure we can provide housing for every single person in this city, and we have a plan to be able to do that. So I'm excited to talk to you tonight about how we can build micro communities that offer up to 1,400 tiny homes for people around the city as transitional housing to be able to get stabilized and then get back on our feet and back out into the world. So thanks so much for having me tonight.
Hi everyone, it's a great honor to be here. Jim Walsh. I think this whole campaign is upside down. Everywhere we go, we're asked, what are you going to do about the unhoused? I think the question needs to be turned on its head. What are we going to do about those who profit from an economic system that throws people on the street? That is the question. Thank you.
All right, check. All right, everyone. Hi, I'm Ian Thomas Tafoya. You probably know me because I've been out here doing the work, trying to turn this around for people, to bring public sanitation, restrooms, food to the people.
Yeah.
We have worked so diligently over the last few years. A little bit about me. I was born and raised here in Denver. I've worked for 3 branches of the local government. I used to have an office right there. I was radicalized by Denver Homeless Out Loud to say this is absolutely what we have to do to overturn this camping ban. We failed here. We tried there for many years. We failed there. I was a spokesperson for Yes on 300, Right to Survive, because yes, I believe we have human rights. I've been named the human rights candidate. I founded the Headwaters Protectors, based in indigenous philosophy, to protect water and to protect people. This last month, who showed up here to tell them to not sweep people in the cold? Who's showing up there in the Capitol? I am asking for rent control. We can do this together.
That's what's up.
Hi, my name is Andy Rougeau. I'm running for mayor to fight for Denver's future because I love this city. I think it's the greatest city in the country. It's the city where I settled down after the Army. I initially came to Denver after doing a deployment to Afghanistan. City where I built a business fixing gates for self-storage units, type of business where I'd be covered in grease and grime, couldn't hug my wife until I'd taken a shower. City where I'm raising 2 daughters. I'm running for mayor to fight for Denver's future. I'm excited to talk to you about how. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm State Representative Leslie Herod. Thank you. I currently represent across the street at the state capitol, and I want to say one thing. We have, Jim Walsh is right, this conversation is all upside down. When we talk about moving people along or sweeping them, sweep folks to where? And by the way, people are people. Have conversations, look folks in the eye. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
That's right.
Respect. Number one, my sister was incarcerated because she didn't get access to the mental health care and the substance abuse care that she needed. It's not right. The system is wrong, and we need to provide support. We need to provide housing for people who need housing. We need mental health services for those who need mental health services. And I'm happy and honored to work alongside of you all to make sure that that happens. State Representative Leslie Herod for mayor. Thank you.
Homelessness is a mental condition. Must be treated.
In June of 2020, I gave a speech on those steps over there. And I gazed across the street and saw what was going on. And I wept. Something needs to be done. I am a builder of 27 years in this city. We don't need a politician here. We need somebody to build housing for everybody. Everybody. You will have ownership under my plan. Okay? 7,000 in 1 year. I will do it. I will do it. Trust me.
How many homes you got open in your house?
Hire me to do it.
What's your name? What's your name?
My name is Robert Tretta. Thank you.
Have you took a
Shredder, I didn't get
person
that.
home with you? Have any of y'all?
We're gonna mow your lawn and just
Good evening, everyone. My name is Denise Mayes, and I'm here on behalf of Kelly Bruff, who's running for mayor. I have two fundamental reasons for supporting Kelly. One is because she has an enormous amount of executive experience. A lot of people can have great ideas, but they don't have the expertise to get them done. The ideas make no difference. Second, she will lead this city with heart and compassion. She believes that sweeps are wrong. They are punitive without purpose. Let's get people into homes and give them the needed services they deserve.
right.
She will deliver on the promise of Denver for you, for me, for all of Denver. Kelly Bruff for mayor.
What do you think? What do you think?
Thank you, all the candidates, for introducing yourselves.
Ask that question. Why isn't the only unhoused
We
candidate
do want to start.
not allowed to speak to you?
Hold on.
I'm unhoused.
Hold your turn.
Again, we do ask that all people in the audience please reduce their comments so that we can, out of respect for both audience members and candidates' time. Thank you very much. We will start with the first segment of the night, and these will be a series of yes or no questions. Candidates, please stand if you are answering yes to the question, and stay seated if you're answering no. When we asked the people the three most pressing concerns for the houseless community, the top answer was by far housing. First question is, as mayor, will you create low-income housing as a city entity, also known as social housing developments, and keep affordable housing by the city? Please stand to yes. Thank you. Sorry, can you please stay stood, please? I'm gonna say your names. Say I'm seeing Lisa, Thomas, Terrence, Renata, Chris, Mike, Jim, Ian, Leslie, Andy, and Denise. Oh, sorry, and Robert.
I just have a question
Sorry,
here.
not Andy.
Can we let Jesse join us here? Jesse's been an advocate for the unhoused for the last 10 years, showing up to every city council member. He's a write-in candidate. I believe that he should have the right to be here.
He is not on the ballot, and so we did ask that all candidates that were on the ballot were in attendance for tonight, if they wish to be here.
I also support bringing Jesse up here. I support that.
I third Jesse coming up here, even though he trolls me for whatever reason. Come on up here, Jesse. You should have got your signatures though, brother, but I still advocate for you to be
Now, instead of talking, you should have actually been out here with the unhoused, like I've been for damn near a decade. My name is Jesse LaShawn Paris. Yeah, I didn't make the ballot, but I'm still running for mayor. Jesse, mayor.com, support the campaign. I'm the only one up here out of all of these mugs that's been unhoused under the urban camping ban. I know firsthand what it's like to be told to move along to where you can't stay here, you can't be here. I'm the one that came along with the move along to where, you know what else I came up with? Unhoused neighbors. Because I said, y'all are unhoused, but you're still part of the community. That was my words. Tangibles. That's my words. Everything they're talking about they want to do, I've already done. I've already housed people. I've already fought to repeal the urban camping ban. I've been on that. It's nothing new. Housing is a human right, and I coined it.
Thank you, Jesse. We do have an open seat if you would like to sit, Jesse. Oh, Al Gardner has not shown up for tonight. Yes. All right, we'll be moving on to the second question of the yes or no segment. Again, please stand if you are answering yes, and please stay seated if you're standing, if you would answer. Do you believe that housing is a human right? No. Please stand up if you say yes. That is a, excuse me, that is a unanimous answer except for Andy Rugo. Please stay seated, thank you.
It's a privilege.
The second,
Even by human
thank you, everyone. The second top concern regarded sweeps done by the city. The first question is, as mayor, will you stop sweeps of houseless people? I'm seeing Lisa, Jesse, Terrence, Renata, Mike, Ian, Leslie, Robert, and Denise.
I might add the
The second question is, will you stop sweeps when it is under 32 degrees Fahrenheit or freezing weather? I'm seeing Lisa, I'm seeing Jesse, Terrence, Renata, Chris, Mike, Jim, Ian, Leslie, Robert, and Denise. Thank you very much. The third question, if someone is staying outside in a tent and refuses to go to a shelter or a safe outdoor shelter, SOS site, will they face arrest? Please stand yes and stay seated no. We see Thomas Wolf.
We never got to put our tents on the sidewalk like they do now. We had to keep ourselves hidden. But today...
The second top answer that was tied for second with sweeps was concerning shelters, including overcrowding, issues with staff, health concerns, and many more concerns. As mayor, will you set up a shelter evaluation system, which is unbiased from the shelter provider itself, that hears and takes action on issues raised by shelter residents?
That's impossible. That is an impossible.
Please stand if yes. I'm seeing everyone standing yes, except for Andy Rugo. Thank you very much. The fourth biggest concern issues raised was bathrooms. As mayor, will you install public bathrooms throughout the city?
Will you allow us
And
to
so please stand a yes. I'm seeing Lisa, Thomas, Terrence, Jesse, Renata, Chris, Mike, Jim, Ian, and Leslie standing, and Denise. Thank you very much. Tied for the fourth biggest issue was case management. As mayor, will you increase funding for more case managers and more training for case managers?
training
Thank you.
and let them not have to...
Oh yes, I will repeat the question. Tied for the fourth biggest issue was case management. As mayor, will you increase funding for more case managers and more training for case managers? I'm seeing a unanimous, all standing for yes. Thank you. The fifth concern raised by the community was fentanyl. The first question is, do you support the criminalization of fentanyl use? Stand a yes, stay seated for no.
Can we get a
Just do you support the criminalization of fentanyl use? In general. All right, I'm seeing Trinidad, Thomas, Mike, and Andy standing yes. The question was just, do you support criminalization of fentanyl use? The second is, do you support using city funds to help pay for treatment programs when Medicaid does not cover such treatment?
Medicaid covers all of it.
Awesome. Yes, I'll repeat the question. Do you support using city funds to help pay for treatment programs when Medicaid does not cover such treatment for substance use? I'm seeing a unanimous yes for that. Thank you. Do you support supervised injection sites, also known as overdose prevention sites? Please stand yes. Stay seated for no. Thank you. I'm seeing those saying yes as Lisa, Jesse, Terrence, Renata, Jim, Ian, Leslie, and Robert. Thank you.
Then you watch him come back the next day. You do that, then we'll see.
And lastly, when asked what concerns and questions people had for mayoral candidates about funding, most people asked the same question: where is this money going? Our question to you is, as mayor, audit all city departments and city-funded nonprofit organizations who are providing services to houseless people on a regular basis and publish those audits for the public to see. Please stand yes or stay seated for no. I'm seeing a unanimous standing of yes for that, for auditing the city and releasing it to the public. Thank you, candidates.
We need a public banking system.
We will now move into the second segment of the night, in which the unhoused community will then ask their questions. Again, I do want to remind the candidates that each question will have 3 candidates respond, and I will pick the candidates, and you all have 1 minute for your response.
Okay, so first 2 are Aster and then Mark. So Aster, you are first, and then Mark, you will be second.
How many of you plan to open the door for psychedelic medicine to be used to cure drug addiction in as little as 2 properly guided ceremonies? Brother Man was talking about ancestral land and all the native peoples of this planet, right? Well, shamans have been using natural medicine to cure all known disease for freaking millennia. Magic mushrooms cure drug addiction in as little as 2 properly guided ceremonies for nothing. These people are suffering for nothing. I don't think any of you are really worth a fuck. Your energy doesn't really tell me anything otherwise. I hope you all prove me wrong. We're all human beings. And until we do something as people together, it ain't gonna change. Here's your mic back.
We're behind on our stuff.
Hi, yes, so the first 3 candidates will be Lisa, Trinidad, and Thomas, please. Yeah.
Where did he go? Okay. The answer is yes, that we have in a country have steadily criminalized drugs, and only selective drugs, and often those drugs that they associate with Black and brown and poor communities. So that's why, as a criminal justice professor, we know the criminalization of drugs does not work. And so I'm for all kinds of methods to help with people with mental illness or just anxiety or whatever they need to do to find relief. Thank you.
Part of the reason I'm running in this race is because Colorado is 48th in the U.S. for access to treatment. And I 100% support and will drive for more access to treatment, including effective drugs that are conducted in concert with clinical personnel to protect everyone's lives. This may not be very widely known yet here on the West Coast, but on the East Coast there is a new drug that is making its way into 90% of drug samples that are taken, and that is called Tranq, and it's naloxone resistant, and it's extremely dangerous, and I want to protect you from that danger and harm.
Shouldn't have told us the name.
That was funny. So I took about 21 hours of college chemistry and probably could draw THC back in the day for you. That wouldn't be very entertaining. I don't think any of these drugs are, I don't think any drug's more equal than the other. Obviously fentanyl, which causes a cognitive impairment with use and compounds, is an incredible pandemic. I think mushrooms are very complex as well, and there's a lot of scientific evidence that they can be helpful. We need to free that up and allow that to happen from a research perspective and get some evidence and then go from there. Thomas Wolfe, like to help you as well as you.
We're gonna bring you down.
Okay, and now we have our next question.
I would like to know what you do as a city, the mayor of Denver, about a city-owned building that's currently being rented to the Salvation Army. That's the worst homeless shelter out there. That's more contaminated than any library in the city and county of Denver, meth, that they smoke dope in all day, that has contaminants that could harm the employees and the other residents that do not do that.
Sleep there in days.
And what would you do also to ensure that the bed bug problem doesn't get spread no more than it is, and it doesn't get spread to the new shelter that they're going to move to when the building gets miniated and tore down?
And we'd like to hear from Mike Johnson, Jim Walsh, and Ian Tafoya, please.
Thank you so much. I absolutely think as mayor, it's my job to make sure every one of those places are dignified and safe, and that means that they are clean, that they are safe, that there is not risks for contaminants, that there are not bed bugs, and I think that would be what's required for us to actually keep all those places safe, so it can be dignified both for people to be able to go for shelters and to be able to get them to more transitional, safer, long-term housing like tiny homes and permanent homes where people can have their own dignified space. So yes, we know shelters play a role. I think the key is to give people the dignity of their own private space, which is why I want to build tiny homes and micro communities around the city so everybody can have their own place to call home.
Great idea.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I can't imagine any mayor not following through on that basic responsibility of ensuring that every shelter in this city feels dignified and clean and sanitized. But I think the focus we need to have is not shelters. The focus we need to have is housing, real housing, dignified housing, ending the sweeps, ending the camping ban, and getting people housed.
Jeff! Psychological backup that is necessary.
Well, this is something that I can agree with them both on, which is that we have to be moving away from sheltering people in these congregate living. It's not working for people. I hear it on a regular basis on the street with headwaters protectors about why people choose to be on the street. They can't lock their things away. They're concerned about not being able to get a good night's sleep because people that are next to them are doing things they don't like that you were just talking about. I have centered public health in my campaign. There's a reason why Headwaters Protectors operates in the way that it does, is because it's about public health. You know, in the early days of the pandemic with Headwaters Protectors, I washed the hands of a man who was crying, said he washed his hands in 5 days. There's a lack of access of sanitation and water access that goes along with bed bugs too. And so we have to be doing more to ensure that everybody has the right to water and housing and sheltering their belongings from theft. That's a lot of the reason why people struggle to have jobs. Thank you.
The next two people who will be asking their questions are Tandy and Jackie. Tandy? Are you Tandy? Okay, perfect.
My question is, Colorado has the third highest rent in the nation, and I want to know why Colorado can't afford to fucking help homeless people. What are we doing? That's ridiculous. I mean, I have a Section 8 voucher, thank God, praise the Lord, but my rent is like $1,000 a month, and I don't know what I would do. I'd be living on the streets. I've been homeless twice now.
We'd like to hear from Terrence Roberts, Renata, and Chris Hansen, please.
Is this mic on? So, of course, like I said, when I first opened up, housing is a human right. It's been politicized with affordable housing. Once Governor Polis enacts rent controls on a state level, as mayor, hopefully everybody sitting up here will definitely enact rent controls, because rent is where most people are becoming impoverished. And poverty is the #1 issue in Denver. We have a lot of snooty to-dos, and we have a lot of impoverished people in this city. And it's too bad that we keep putting the same political cool kids in office who keep pushing affordable housing when housing is not to be politicized. Housing is a human right. You see these babies right here with these green sweaters? I'm worried about where they're gonna live in 10 years. These are my kids. I'm worried about where not only you're going to live in 10 hours, but where my babies will live in 10 years. Housing first. Housing is a human right. Public housing and a public banking system needs to be had with rent controls as soon as we can do it at a municipal level.
Renata, we would like to hear from you, please.
Being homeless is our fault. It's society's fault. Thank you. Being homeless is our fault. I think the society has to change several things that homelessness never happens. If you are divorced, you are losing everything and you are automatically homeless. That is not okay. And I would like to change big old brick houses that are empty into apartments, not affordable. Of course, everything should be affordable, but real houses, real housing, not just a little square with a bed and a water cooker. But alone, I cannot do anything. You have to help me. Thank you.
Denver is absolutely unaffordable, and it's crushing everyone in town. It's crushing all of us here tonight. I'm also raising 2 boys in town. Where are they going to live when they start their first job? It hits every single one of us. We have to catch up on building more supply of housing. And that means nonprofits, that means private sector, that means public sector. We need everybody in the game on this. We need to catch up on 50 to 60,000 units in this city right now. That's why rents have gone through the roof. That's why we're so short. That's why housing costs are so high. And it's pushing people into homelessness because we are not getting the job done. And city government has a huge part to play in that. We've got to speed up the permitting process and the progress on these investments. Otherwise, we'll keep falling behind. And I'm proud to share with you that, again, for the first time ever, we have serious investment from the state capitol to help Denver catch up. And I was proud to be a big part of that effort. We have $700 million coming from the housing side. Denver's going to get a big piece of that. It's going to have a huge multiplier with other private and nonprofit investment. We can really make a big difference if City Hall leads. Thanks.
Hello, we have here today a sitting president who will sign a bill of rest for the unhoused 60 years old and older and handicapped. Can we count on you to get this bill into law? Yes or no? We have here today a sitting president who will sign a bill of rest for the unhoused 60 years and older and handicapped. Can we count on any of you to get this bill into law?
Yes or no? Please stand yes. Please stay seated for no.
What is the question? What bill are we talking about?
I want to get a bill passed to get the 60-year-olds handicapped off the street housed. That's as simple as I can get this. And I'm going higher than your state. I want to know who's going to stand with me to go into Washington to this president that's sitting there today and get this bill on the table for him to sign, because he will sign it.
So it's not a bill that's written yet, but it is a bill that Jackie wants to move forward to house people who are 60 years or older or disabled. Is that correct? And handicapped, sorry, handicapped.
Not disabled, handicapped. There's a difference.
So I see unanimous standing except for Andy Rougeau. We'll move into the next people for questions.
All right, so Steve S. is the next, and then Shay will be after that. Steve S. Steve S. Steve H. Okay, I think we might be over to Shay then. Okay, Shay and then Courtney. Shay is here. So here comes Shay this very second. Here comes Shay. All right, and then Courtney will be after Shay. Right here. Right here.
Hello. I wouldn't be surprised if this was not the first time you have been questioned on this stance this evening, but I would like to know your stance on sweeps, because I feel it will tell me a lot about the rest of your term if you are elected. For example, if you're okay with just pushing people around, you have no plan for affordable housing as far as I'm concerned. It's the most important part of the city's budget, and it's just costing the city money. So that's what I would like to know. Are you in support of sweeps or not?
We would like to hear from Andy Rougeau, Leslie Herod, and Robert Tretta, please.
Hi, I will enforce the camping ban. I will enforce the camping ban to give people into the mental health and drug service they need. It is not humane to step over someone sleeping in a tent. It is not humane to see someone overdosing in a tent and say the answer is to leave them alone. If my daughter is suffering, my daughter is in a situation where she's dealing with mental health or drug addiction issue, I would want someone to say, how can I connect you to family? How can I connect you to help? I can promise I am someone standing over the stage to enforce our camping ban to get people their mental health and drug addiction services they need. Thank you.
We will hear from Leslie now, everyone. Thank you.
The camping ban is a very clear example of failed policy. It was meant to target people who are unhoused and make folks who are housed feel like you're different, that you're not part of the family, that you're not part of the community, and that's wrong. So sweep along into where? It's not working. So I believe that we need to replace the camping ban with policies that actually work, like housing, like services. That is what I would support.
Yes. Thank you, Leslie.
I've been building houses for 27 years. 27 years. For all different purposes. Okay? I'm building a house right now for my sister that doesn't have a home. I came right from the job site. Drove an hour here to be here today. Let me tell you something. Everyone's going to talk about it, but no one's going to tell you how they're going to do it. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do it for $25,000 per person. In 1 year. In 1 year. You just got to hire me to do it. I'm disgusted with it. Enough is enough. You know, Hickenlooper's road home did nothing. Hancock is possibly the worst leader we've ever had. Do you guys want it done or no? This is a private residence with a kitchen and a bathroom. Okay? Go onto my Twitter page. I'm going to be posting about it. The blueprints on the whole plan. 7,000 units in 1 year. Watch me do it. They don't know how to do it. You're going to vote for them? Give me a break.
Thank you, Robert.
So Courtney, you're next.
Hello.
I hate to put my back to you guys, but you guys are the one I need to talk to. You guys are the ones that are going to pass any type of change that we have. Are any of you guys from Colorado or natives?
Mayoral.
Okay, and how many of you are, poverty stricken or homeless, have been homeless, grew up poor? That's important. That's important because really, I mean, this is my hood. That's why I'm here. And so, welcome to my hood. But how it works around here is that when you move people, like they were saying with the sweeps. All right, when you move people that much, we get disconnected from each other, and there's no community. And the only community we have advocates that work for free. And there's these wonderful people that come and help us out and take us to appointments and reconnect us and help us with services. And when we have a boo-boo, we call them and they take us to the doctor and they just give their time. So my question is, with community and this being my hood, why are there not liaisons between all the organizations, human services that are paid? Just get them. We already have them. They're not being paid. They're good people. They're humanitarians. And they might be bleeding heart liberals, but they're doing more than you and you and you. And the bottom line is, I want to know why we're not having legislators that are putting people in charge and paying people that are already doing a great job. And everybody complains, oh, well, the cops and the hazmat and the homeless and all the no liaisons. So my question is, are you going to make sure that there's infrastructure set up where they're hiring people that already know the folks in the community that can reach them? Because all the outreach, they can't even keep track of them, and probably they're doing that on purpose. Absolutely, they're trying to separate us. So my question is, can you hire the right people and pay people that are passionate?
Thank you, Courtney. And we'd like to hear answers from Lisa, Leslie, and Robert, please.
Thank you, Courtney. And yes, I have been homeless as a teen, escaping domestic violence. I've lived in the projects. I've been a single parent on welfare and using food stamps. And even back then, I could afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Park Hill. And we know those days are long gone. So what I would not do is what they're doing right now in the city of Denver. They are patting themselves on the back for opening a new aid center with bureaucrats, with expanding the criminal legal system. They could be giving that money to you all, to providers, to people with lived experience who become case managers or mentors or navigators, but instead they're giving it to themselves. So what we need to do is reinvest that money back into community, and the money that we're going to save on the sweeps and through Dottie sweeping people and the police sweeping people and through settlements for police brutality, we will channel that money directly into services and directly into housing.
Humans help humans.
Right, humans are helping humans.
No
Right.
money, no help each other.
Yes, the people most impacted need to be running these programs. Okay, I think I'm out of time.
Thank you, Lisa. We'd like to hear from Leslie next.
Thank you. And can you guys hear me? All right, there you go. Thank you for your question. I was raised low income, single mom. As I said, my sister was incarcerated and homeless. My nieces and nephews were as well. But one thing that I have done to address this issue is I went to the voters and asked to create Caring for Denver, to provide more funding for people who are doing the work. We now fund organizations, including those here today, so that people don't have to work for free. Peers, people who are helping people, who have lived experience, who are helping each other, should be paid to do that work. And they should be paid a wage that means that they can live in Denver as well. And so we fought to make sure that peers were recognized, that peers were paid and not underpaid. And we've already started investing in that, and we will continue with the power of this city and county building once I'm mayor. So thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
You are my peer. You are my peer. Yes.
Thank you, Leslie. We'd like to hear from Robert next.
Okay, here's the problem. They're wasting too much money. Go right over here when you leave here and make a right here. You see the building with the, they're putting blue cladding on the outside of the building. Do you know how much that's costing? I do. I'll bet you it's about $1 million. They're spending on putting metal cladding on a building that doesn't need it. It houses 94 chronically homeless people right here. Now tell me they're spending your money wisely. This is why we have no resources, because they waste it. They waste every single penny. Ineffective spending, okay? I'm not gonna stand for it anymore. And I respect the taxpayers of the city. They don't want this going on, okay? I'm gonna do it for 5% of what they're doing it now. I'm telling you, I am going to do it for 5%. You will have a private place to live, and I will build it myself if I have to.
Here, I'll do it, damn it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Am I
We'll now move into the
Okay.
next question.
Yes, so our next two people, our first is Chris H. and our next is Travis.
This is Chris. I'm Chris. Hey, nice to meet you all. Thank you all for coming out here to talk to the homeless. We know that we're not most politicians' favorite people to talk to. But I had a really interesting question. Coming into COVID and reading all the voter ballots and everything, because I vote, I'm a citizen. I try to be a citizen, but Denver doesn't like poor people as citizens. But I'm concerned about the money that Denver has been making. I read all these ballot measures. There's millions and millions of dollars put aside for all these programs. And we put some of it towards housing the homeless during COVID for the emergency, but those programs are closing. Where are we going now with emergency housing for those that are still homeless? We're running out of money. We have to pay back all these bills. How are we supposed to move forward with this?
Thank you. We'd like to hear from Trinidad, Thomas, and Mike, please.
Thank you for the. Thank you. Thank you for the great question, an important question. Many of the ballot measures you're talking about, I share your concern. It is a problem, and I will call for a moratorium on sales tax increases that burden low-income individuals disproportionately way more than anyone else in our city. So I don't know if you heard that, I'll call for a moratorium on sales tax increases. Many of those are initiated by people outside of these walls. A lot of them are initiated by people who have particular interests, and many of them fund very important things, but they crush low-income families the most because more of your income goes to pay for basic expenses that get taxed by those needs. The short-term impact is to invest in more pathways for you to gain control of your life. And that includes access to treatment, more treatment options. That includes knowledge and skills so you can weather the ups and downs of the economy and pay these crazy tax rates.
Yeah, so I had mentioned the $10 billion number. And that $10 billion number is land, buildings, all sorts of trucks and different things that are that the city owns out of this building. 10 years ago, maybe 12, we spent $1 billion and built a new justice center, which is a euphemism for a jail. The old jail is still right over here. It's a warm shell in real estate terms. It has plumbing, it has heating, it has lighting. It houses confiscated cannabis now. We're being more humane to confiscated cannabis than we are to you all. That makes no sense. There are other properties. I took my wife to the airport yesterday, and there's that building that was the flawed parking structure out on the island there. Beautiful building, great views. I can't imagine what's in there. We need to utilize these assets to get people off the street and have shelter. Thomas Wolf, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much, Chris, for this question. Great point. So I was worried about the same thing, which is seeing all these resources that were going to go away after COVID, what were we going to do? And that was why I spent the last 2 years working on a ballot measure, Proposition 123, which we passed, which will put $300 million more into housing without raising taxes, and we'll bring services to Denver to do this. And here's why it's important. One of the things that I hear every time I talk to folks who are unhoused, I think people forget, is the sense of community that exists among all people, and particularly among folks who are unhoused. I think other people's housing plans are build one unit 10 miles over there, build one unit 5 miles over there, and expect people to leave the communities they have. The reason why I want to learn from people who've shared these stories with me to build micro communities is you can build 40 or 50 tiny homes on a half-acre site where everyone's got their own dignified, safe, stable place to live, but you still have a sense of community. You can still be with the people that you're connected to. You can have access to food and showers and the rest, but you both keep that sense of community and get a sense of dignity in housing. That's what I deliver as mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The next speaker is here, Travis, and then the next two are going to be Keiki and Easy.
I stay at a shelter, and many of us don't want to go to work because if the boss says we need you after 3:30, we can't do it, or we'll be staying on the street. And right now, I caught myself looking at my watch, knowing I have to get to the shelter. Yeah. And I'm not the only one speaking to other people who are, we don't want to work because if a boss says you got to stay late, you may not have a place to sleep except an alley. What are you going to do to help people, not just workers, but mothers? But right now, I know workers. A lot of people aren't working right now because if the temp services say, hey, that's my question. What are you going to do? Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to hear from Ian, Chris, and Denise, please.
Thank you for your question. This is exactly what I was talking about. People have a hard time working because they don't have stability. And when people are up here talking about continuity of care, they need stability for that too. So if you're going to access your caseworker, if you're going to access outpatient services, if you're going to have a job, then we need to have places that allow you to live like any other person and come and go as you please, where you can keep your things safely. And I really appreciate what you're asking about because we hear it. That's why we advocated together for the first 24-hour shelters. That's why we advocated together for the first safe outdoor sites where they don't care what time you come home, right? That's why I offered a plan during the pandemic to actually scale the safe outdoor sites using unemployed festival workers to bring stability to people. Your question earlier was about why don't we pay people who are out on the streets doing it for free? That's why I'm asking to be your mayor. Send a person who in the darkest times was on the street serving people and working together in this community. I guarantee they'll be in this administration. Thank you.
So you have raised such an important point because the shelter system right now is not working for the city.
That's right.
And we have serious work to do. And I want you to know I take that seriously. And last year, as I said, the state finally stepped up to the plate. Denver has been trying to do this largely on its own with some federal money. And now the state of Colorado is finally making some investments. And exactly to your point, I did a bill last year to bring $50 million of extra grant money to help expand capacity across our nonprofits in the city. And that is money that is going to be, has to perform. It has to be, the bids that come in, they have to show that they have a successful model and a successful strategy, or they don't get the money. And that's the kind of accountability we need in the system. And I'm really excited to see what progress we can make with finally the state stepping up to the plate and being part of the solution. And as mayor, I want to make sure that that gets implemented in a great way so that it works. We've got so many of these things that embedded in your question of money being spent, and it's not producing a result that helps the city and helps the folks involved. So thank you so much for this question.
Gotta experience homelessness 1 month.
Renata, Denise is actually going to answer this question, please. Thank you. It's Denise's turn, Renata. Thank you.
Thank you, Renata. So I think a lot of the issues you raised, there's actually more than one. But first of all, I think today's current shelter system, frankly, is out of date. It's archaic. This notion that you have to wait in line, you have to call at the right time, and we have this congregate care that really doesn't work. It's not safe sometimes for people. It doesn't welcome everyone. You can't take your pets, and you fear the loss of your belongings, and you fear for yourself in those spaces.
Very dangerous.
So there is no question that we need to reevaluate the entire shelter system, which is why Kelly is prioritizing how do you build housing for people who need it. And she has pretty significant plans on how to do just that. She also, just to go back to a question that was asked earlier, she's totally against the sweeps, and that is because they are punitive again without purpose. They cost dollars and they're inhumane. We want to do something about those sorts of issues. The one thing that I did want to say, because I heard it asked when I was giving my introduction, and that was the reason why Kelly isn't here is because she had a commitment that she had to hang with her mother. But I want you to know it was important enough for her not to be a no-show, but to send somebody here in her stead. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. We'll now move into our next question.
Cake is next. Cake. And then after Cake is Easy.
So a bit of a backstory about me. I spent 652 days in an SOS camp. I almost froze to death due to mismanagement of that place. I finally got an apartment, and my question is, with the Kwame Spearmans and the Mike Kaufmans of the world that distort the lens and pervert the narrative of what it is like to be homeless, what I would like to know is, what do you gain by vilifying people that are simply down on their luck and lacking the support that society at large tends to take for granted that they all have and we don't? You know, that's... And then my second question, now that my friends and I are housed, I hear a lot of talk about housing first and meeting people where they are. Where y'all at? You know, we need job training, we need mental health we need mental health help, substance abuse, help to reintegrate ourselves into the community, because unfortunately, some of us have lost basic human interaction skills and we've become, for lack of a better word, feral. How do you want to help us, or how do you plan to help us become humans again and be a part of that community and give us that support that we need, that you guys are all having and you seem to take for granted, but we don't have it and we need it?
Thank you, and we'd like to hear from Lisa, Jim, and Andy, please.
Thank you for that question. I have been active on the debate stage, challenging candidates who have been vilifying unhoused people. But I also want you to pay attention to, sometimes people say it in a way that is unapologetic and unabashed, and sometimes they say it in a way that makes it sound really nice, but they're doing the same thing. So this whole talk about compassionate crackdowns, there is no such thing as a compassionate sweep. And so even though Kelly Brock does not support the sweeps, she still supports camping bans. So you can say it nicely, but the end effect is that if you don't do what they say, they will arrest you. They will involuntarily commit you. And what we have to do is stand for your human rights. You still have constitutional rights, whether you have a home or not.
We have a home, it's called Earth.
Thank you so much for that question. I want to say, everyone, that as an historian, this election, April 4th, falls on the 55th anniversary of the murder of Martin Luther King Jr. He died fighting for the rights of sanitation workers to strike. The workers wore a sign that said, "I am a man." And so I think this election should be about should be about workers' rights, should be about basic human dignity. And I think the greatest lie we have in our society is what I call the meritocracy lie. The meritocracy lie is the lie that wherever you end up on the economic ladder, you're there because you've earned it. That's a lie. And the harm that's been done with that lie over the decades, over the years, over the centuries, continues to go cycle on and on and on. So we need to challenge that wherever we hear it. We need to turn the paradigms upside down that are given to us, even in the mainstream questions. So we need a mayor that speaks up and stands up for the rights of workers, the wages of workers, the right to form unions, and the right to strike.
Hi, I'm running for mayor to fight for Denver's future by making sure we have jobs for blue-collar workers, for people coming off of experiencing homelessness. Right now, we make it hard for anybody who doesn't have a college degree to live in our city. We have regulations that are making it difficult to start climbing way up the economic ladder. For example, many jobs in our city require a college degree. If you want to run one of the centers in our city, they will make you go get a college degree, even if you work there for years upon years upon years, and you may have experience leading people like my soldiers in combat. You should be able to work for our city without a college degree. You shouldn't have to jump through hoops and make it impossible for you to start a business unless you can go through 70 pages of paperwork. As mayor, I will fight for our future to make sure that blue-collar workers, people coming off of experiencing homelessness, are able to get a job and able to buy that first home. Thank you.
Okay, the next person set to speak is Easy, but I don't believe Easy sat up here, so I don't see Easy, but I do have somebody who has a question. She has to leave because of her shelter curfew, so I would respect. That's not Easy. That's Jerry. Okay, I have to give this person a chance to speak because she has a question, if that's okay.
Yes. My name is Karen. My name is Karen, and I'm really going through a lot, and I don't know most of the time why I'm still alive. I do not do drugs, I do not do alcohol, I do not do cigarettes. I am a United States Navy veteran, and I'm trying to do this in a pure way. That I want to hold the insurance company, Liberty Mutual, accountable for my injuries. I need a lot of surgery, and I pass out from pain. I cannot lay on the ground like a homeless person. If I try to get up, I go into spasms of pain, and I can't stop screaming in pain. I am going through a condition called thrush, and I really don't appreciate some of the snobby people here in Denver. Most of the people are very kind. I love Denver because Denver, I want the old Denver. It is changing into the way the other states are. I think Denver is very awesome. I think they're very open-minded. And I'd like the leadership, especially the mayor, to reflect that I would like to pass something called Karen's Law. If you need something, damn it, that's what you need. And you need to get it. No more bull. I have made a suggestion to my friend yesterday. I asked them to do mass for a special intention. I want to be the one to help people see options, see freedom, see that there is a God that guides us. I serve with courage, honor, and commitment. I would like to interview each homeless person and them have their voice and figure out some kind of special needs trust. Let nobody be left behind. And I want to help the city council present this. I want to be the doer and not just dump it on somebody else and then not get done. The world revolves on results. And my question is, do you, as a candidate for running for mayor, are you fully engaged to help all people, not just a certain wealthy segment of the Denver population? Or do you want to help all people? It's sort of like you either know the law or you know all the law. There's a big difference. No more bull.
Go
Thank you, Karen. We'd like to hear answers from Trinidad, Terrence, and Renata, please.
No more bull. No more bull.
Thank you, Karen, for your service, and thank you for your question. We spoke a little while earlier while she was in line. Karen, I'll have you in my intentions for your thrush. Yeah. Karen raises the most important thing, which is getting results. Passion without implementation is just a tweet. And we've got plenty of tweets. We've got too many tweets. And we have a bunch of people, that one of the things that sets me apart from the field and the rest of the pack is I'm going to talk to you the exact same way and with the exact same information as I talk to in any room. And that is fighting for all. That is fighting for all Denverites. So I love the idea about the Special Needs Trust. That is exactly the kind of thing that my experience in finance and working with philanthropy will help me to execute on. And so, Karen, thank you for that gift that you've given here again tonight. Good night.
Hope you guys all got it.
So I don't know if you guys have been listening to what I said. Housing is a human right. We need more public housing. If somebody has thrush, if somebody is depressed, if somebody has been sexually abused, they cannot get into affordable housing. We need a public banking system to pay for it, you guys. All right, let's just get real. We cannot pay for any of this with our general fund. It is against the law. So where's all this money for housing going to come from that these candidates are talking about? We need to democratize banking services. If King Soopers can sell a Rush card for $50 from a rapper, we can definitely install a public banking system in the city of Denver to bank our unhoused neighbors. Okay, that's Jesse's term, but we can do that, and we can build more public housing. You cannot heal from thrush in the tent. We cannot be too focused on just shelters. We need more housing for people. Housing is tiered. And if you don't want to move into a shelter, we need safe encampments with washing machines, with dryers, with toiletries, with all of the things, okay? That is my plan. A public banking system, more housing, period, so you can heal from thrush.
Thank you, Terrence.
As I said before, I like people, and there should not be any difference between housed people and unhoused people. The human right is there for everybody, and I'm not in favor of micro or tiny small homes because you have the same rights as we have. The housing should be affordable for everybody, and as an interim solution, I would like to recommend the employers who employ homeless people that they give them some housing so they don't have to stay in the shelter that they cannot reach because of the time frame. Thank you.
Thank you, Renata.
Okay, the next person is Elizabeth. Elizabeth was just here a fraction of a second ago, calling out for Elizabeth. And then after Elizabeth would be L. L is after Elizabeth. But is Elizabeth here? She had a very important question. I hope she's here somewhere. Oh, and Easy's here now. Okay. So if Elizabeth is not here, unfortunately, then I'll jump over to Easy.
I actually have a two-part question. So, in Colorado, homelessness has become a four-letter word, unfortunately, and a lot of us have experienced, I think, marginalization and discrimination to an extent not seen since the 60s maybe, and it's too bad. First of all, I would like to know if any of you feel that there is a better way to do things. I don't know if you have seen what happens when somebody is camped too long in one place, or their RV is not registered, or for whatever reason, but the state government and the county government and the city government literally comes and takes it everything in it and hauls it off, in most cases, to never be seen again. So all your possessions and everything else that you have are gone. If you did that to a regular homeowner or a more traditional homeowner, there'd be hell to pay and riots in the street. But we're supposed to put up with it. So yeah, exactly. So I want to know if you think that there is a better way to handle those situations, and what plans you may have that may differ from the current policy, because it sucks. And then my second question is, I don't know if you followed the city of Denver has a community policing organization called The Grid. And they're also, a lot of the private business owners have hired private security companies. And these guys, at least from my personal experience, use their power to far-reaching and unfair extent. Literally following you around 24/7 a day, every day, all year long. For 3 years, it's been happening to me. That stuff, okay, it's supposed to be illegal. Is there a better way that would you have policies that make that kind of thing illegal, and at least harassment, discrimination, things like that, by these organizations?
Thank you. We'd like to hear from Chris, Mike, and Leslie, please.
Is there a better way? Absolutely yes. And we are unfortunately proving that every single day in Denver, Colorado right now. We have to do better. I had a chance last summer to spend some time with the folks running Haven for Hope in San Antonio. And the reason I bring it up is because San Antonio has shown some incredible progress over the last couple of years. And what have they done that's different from in Denver? First of all, they have one-stop shop. Haven for Hope has all the nonprofits there. They have the city government there. They have the state services there. An easy place for everybody to come and get the services that they need. We have to follow that same track, I believe, in Denver. Better coordination. The city needs to lead on that. There's absolutely ways we can improve access to services and get people connected quickly. It's inefficient right now, so we can absolutely do better. The second thing that San Antonio did is they were able to quickly get folks into stable housing with the services they needed. So it wasn't just housing. It was very quickly making sure the connection between stable housing and services. That's exactly what I want to do as mayor.
Thank you so much. There's absolutely a different way, and the different way is to actually provide people access to housing. And I think the reason why I care so much about this is folks that are telling you that we're going to build single-family homes for everybody, that means you're waiting 3 years to get access for a home. Because it takes 1.5 years to permit it here, and then 1.5 years to build it. No one wants to wait 3 years. And if they're doing that, they're also telling you they're going to break up your community and have you live someplace by yourself. The reason why we're pushing for tiny home communities is because that is what people have shared with us they want. They want to live in a community, and they want housing now. They want housing that can be built in 5 days and can be established with people getting access to those services immediately. And they want places where once they're there, yes, you can get the services you need. There's mental health support on site. There's job training opportunities on site. There's addiction treatment on site. There's long-term Section 8 and permanent housing supports on site. That's what we can do, and that's what we have to do. And that is the far better way than either letting folks have to sleep in tents or having them wait 3.5 years for a new home. And that's what I'll do.
Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question. One thing that people don't often talk about is the fact that Denver, DPS, and RTD own the majority of the vacant lots in the city. They're owned by the city. So when we take people's property, when we tell people to move out of their RVs or they're unregistered, why can't we actually provide spaces for them to go? We actually have the land right now to do so. And so there absolutely is a better way. It's to listen, to have conversations, and to provide solutions. If people don't want your RV parked in front of their house, why not build a community where you can park it in Denver, where you can be safe, where you can still have all of your belongings? When we sweep away people's property, their belongings, their identification, their documents, their hearts, their homes, and then we expect them to go to work, go to treatment, go to whatever, like it's not real, it's not reality. People need support, people need help, and people need to be listened to, and actions need to be brought to the table, and that's what I'll do.
Thank you, Leslie. We'll be moving into our last question for the evening.
All right, so the last question comes from Elizabeth, and then we have one more quick thing after Elizabeth's question.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth, and I just recently became a new mom. And one of the things that I have a question for is there's hardly any services to be able to provide somebody who's I'm also an addict who is in their addiction and trying to end that and get into stable housing or anything, you know what I mean? Where you can actually have your baby there with you and not be separated from it and not be taken by DHS. And I was wondering if you guys have any plan for that.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We'd like to hear from Lisa, Thomas, and Terrence, please.
Thank you so much for that question. I ran the city's reentry program for 8 years and advocated for gender responsiveness for how women heal, women as mothers, in the jail when they are separated from their babies. We know that we can provide both addiction treatment and also trauma treatment, because oftentimes women use because of the trauma in their lives, because of the relationships around them that are not helpful or healthy to help them to thrive. So all of those things need to go together. I worked a lot with grieving mothers who were separated from their children, and that wasn't recognized in the jail. So I was part of the planning to create a women's commission to look at how we support women throughout their process, both whether they're in jail or out in the community with resources. And I will continue to do that as mayor, and I will upscale services specifically for pregnant people. Thank you.
He yelled it to me. So, first off, I'm the only one up here that is a client of CCH. I am a client of Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. If I was the mayor, I would make sure that there was enough housing for those that are in your situation right now. Like, the services aren't reaching the people that actually need them. So you'll hear all this talk about we need housing and we need services. I'm in a program right now. It's failing the people. So the service providers need to be audited. We need to get people in there that actually know what the hell they're talking about, know what people are actually going through, have lived experience with what you're going through. Otherwise, we're just spinning our wheels. It's just going to be more of the same. You're just going to keep throwing money at programs that aren't reaching the people that need them. So the thing I would suggest would definitely be an audit of all of the service providers, including Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. Britta Fisher should not be the head of Colorado Coalition for the Homeless, especially seeing the job that she did as director of host. So yeah, we can do better. And under a Paris administration, we will do better. Thank you for your question, sweetie.
Yeah, the shelter gives us a place to live and we're still homeless. Services are clearly not the answer.
Once again, you deserve to be able to have a baby and get any kind of treatment you need, ma'am, with a place to live. And we need a public banking system. Housing is a human right. It is not a political talking point. Affordable housing, tax incentives to pay for this. That's them. Housing is a human right. I am an ex-gang member. I have been gunned down. I was a homeless youth. I was stealing cars to sleep in them. Jesse is not the only person up here who's been unhoused. This is my baby right here. Right here. She cried because she couldn't come here tonight. Then she fell asleep in the cold. You have a right, ma'am, to have a place to raise your baby, get treatment, have your own keys, and we need a public banking system in Denver to pay for it. If we have to use eminent domain, not one time have I heard any candidate say we will use eminent domain to get aggressive about getting every person off of the streets in Denver. We can do it. We can pay for it. We had a public safety budget that only had 2% of it going to housing last year. Now, one candidate up here said that we need a public safety budget that has at least double-digit housing numbers and a public banking system. Housing for all. Housing is a human right. Housing first. Terrence Roberts for mayor. Quit playing games with these politicians and these activists up here. Put a revolutionary in office. God bless you. You guys go home. Have a good night. Peace.
Thank you, Terrence. We do just have some closing remarks. That concludes our second segment and for the entire questionnaire. And we really appreciate all the candidates and the audience's time for coming out here tonight and just being here in general. We do have some closing remarks from a woman to speak about some immigrant rights and how and immigrant rights. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Janet Pizguerra. I'm community leader for immigrant rights for 26 years. My job is local and national level. I need clear message for everybody here. I recognize very much faces, work together in the community. It's very important, support the people in the street. I'm speaking in Spanish, it's more better for me, my daughter interpret for me. En este momento han llegado miles de nuevos inmigrantes y refugiados a la ciudad de Denver.
Can you hear me? Okay. So at this moment, there are millions of immigrants that are currently coming, whether that be from South America, whether that be from Mexico, but through the southern border.
Y solo la ciudad les está dando 14 días para poder estar en los refugios. 14 días que no son suficientes para ellos adaptarse a la nueva vida que van a tener aquí.
And the city is only giving them 14 days for refuge. That's 14 days that's not enough in order for them to integrate themselves into a community where they're leaving a country seeking asylum, yet they're expected to integrate themselves with a new language, with new people, with a completely new environment.
Eso va a incrementar el número de gente viviendo en la calle, el problema de salud, el problema de higiene. Ya tenemos mucha gente en la ciudad de Denver viviendo en la calle por los altos costos de vivienda.
That means that's going to cause a large increase in the unhoused population out here, meaning that creates a hygiene concern, that creates a safety concern.
Que los altos costos de vivienda de las casas.
And the high rent costs in Denver don't help the situation either.
La mayoría de las personas hablaron de que crearan un programa, de que crearan programas para salud mental, para problema con drogas, obviamente de vivienda a bajo costo o un programa de vivienda para la gente en las calles.
Most people talked about the services that could be provided, whether that be mental, whether that be for addiction, whether that be for other causes.
Y esto es para todos, porque todos los que están sentados aquí están en una posición de privilegio, que saliendo de aquí van a ir a su casa. Muchos tienen trabajo, tienen un degree, tienen salarios buenos.
And this question goes directed towards everyone sitting in these chairs. You all have a privilege. You will all go home to a warm house. You all have a degree. You all have a privilege in some sort of way that must be recognized.
A mí me ha tocado venir y poner mi cuerpo para ayudar a la gente sin hogar, que no los remueva la policía. Me ha tocado cocinar para venir a brindarles comida caliente, que para ellos es un privilegio poder tener una comida caliente.
I have not only put up physical barriers when it comes to sweeps, but I've also cooked for a multitude of our homeless people. ¿Qué más?
Que he tenido que cocinar para traer una comida caliente, que es un privilegio para ellos.
Warm food, which is also a privilege to many of you.
Entonces, toda la gente aquí, quiero que vean la cara de todos los que están aquí. Porque la persona que quede como el mayor de Denver, yo no vivo en Denver, pero trabajo con mucha gente en Denver, mi hija vive en Denver, que no vengan solo a prometer, que tengan realmente un plan de qué van a hacer con la gente, con las minorías, con la gente inmigrante, con la gente sin hogar, porque se está convirtiendo en un real problema tener tanta gente sin hogar y aquí la ciudad no está haciendo lo suficiente. Que necesitan tener un verdadero plan, que no